It's just the way that you love me. It's just the way that you care.
And good evening, and welcome to the Stan Watson Show. I'm your host, Stan Watson, and what I must say is Happy New Year to everybody. I hadn't been able to see you in almost 30 days, or 20 days, what would call it. We're just counting them out right now. Glad to see you back here at Comcast Studio 25, and we hope that you had a gracious holiday season. We're ready to go to work in 2014. My pastor says this is the year of elevation, so we're going to work on that. I have a fantastic show for you tonight. I have Dr. Lipman. He's going to be talking about uterine fibroids, and I have Emmy award-winning journalist and First Lady of TV in Atlanta, Monica Kaufman Pearson, is going to be with me to help me make sure we get through this interview. But I also have Mr. George Cole is going to talk to us today about credit and credit scoring, so make sure that you tune in for that. And I have a great person coming out to sing for us tonight, and that's Miss Vanessa Thompson. She'll be with us most of the night, and she's going to be singing with us tonight. So call somebody, let them know that you can reach us tonight at 770-559-2999. We certainly will be on the air. Vanessa, you want to take us out on the first break? Miss Vanessa Thompson, stay right there. We'll be right back with the Stan Watson Show.
He keeps doing great things for me. Oh, he keeps on doing great things for me. He keeps on doing great things for me. He keeps right on doing great things for me. Oh, if I had 10,000 and that is why I'll always love you so.
I just want you to know.
And that is why I'll never let you go.
It's just the way that you love me.
Ooh, it feels so good inside.
It's just the way that you care.
Know that you'll be right there.
It's just the way that you love me.
Lord, I'm glad you're here.
It's just the way that you care.
Searched all over, can't find
It's
nobody
just
like
the way that you love me.
I can't find nobody.
It's just the way
Just the
that you
way that you
care.
care for me.
Nobody like you.
There is none like
It's just the
you.
way that you love me.
Thank you for the way you love me.
It's just the way that you care.
And welcome back to the Stan Watson Show again. I'm your host, Stan Watson. Remember to call us tonight. 770-559-2999 is the number. We'll try to answer any question that you may have. As I stated earlier, our first guest is Dr. John Lipman, who is a medical director for the Center for Image-Guided Medicine at Emory Adventist Hospital, and also founder of the Atlanta Interventional Institute. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Dr. Lipman, welcome to the Stan Watson Show.
Thanks for having me.
Who's the beautiful journalist you have next to you?
I don't know. She's some struggling
Struggling.
newbie, like new to the field.
I doubt that very seriously. Miss Monica Pearson, hi.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good to see you again.
It's always a pleasure to be
Always
with
a
you.
pleasure. Always-
And you're looking sharp tonight.
Well, we have to. You know how they do on TV, make it look good. You know, it looks a little different in person, but we'll make it work on TV. Help me with Dr. Lipman. I could not let a journalist of your caliber not come in and help me with this interview. I mean, you've done the close-ups, you've done people from all around the world, so you got to help me with this interview to make sure we say the right things.
Yes, sir.
All right, first of all, let's start with this. Dr. Lipman, you have appeared on CNN with Wolf Blitzer. You've been on Jed On, I see that, CNBC, the Health Network. Where haven't you been?
I haven't been on with Monica. This is the first time.
Might be a show that we
Yeah,
can
this
do
is
for
fabulous.
you.
This is the
Close up.
first show.
This is awesome.
Now tell us a little bit about what you do. And you're board certified. You're trained, and where'd you go to school?
I went to medical
Residency?
school at Georgetown, did
Georgetown.
my radiology residency at Harvard, and
Okay.
spent some additional training in interventional radiology, a subspecialty of radiology at Yale.
At Yale.
And
okay.
then 23 or so years ago, I came to Atlanta
Okay.
and started working in a traditional radiology group at Piedmont Hospital.
Okay.
And then about 9 years ago, I went into solo practice.
Okay. And you were recently selected as one of Georgia's favorite physicians in 2013, quite recently. And how'd you get that award?
I don't know, I guess we're doing the right things.
Women love him
Women
because
love him.
he helps
See
them
that?
get rid of a major problem
That-
while maintaining their ability to have children.
See there? We went right into it. See what a
Yep.
great journalist she is. We're talking tonight about uterine fibroids, right?
Correct.
Give us a description of what it
Okay.
is, a diagnosis for that.
Fibroids are the most common pelvic tumor in women. One of every 3 women of childbearing age have these benign tumors. They're not cancerous, but they can cause some really significant symptoms for women. And it's particularly important for African American women. They probably 75 to 80% of African American women of childbearing age have these tumors. So it's really important to know about them if you're African American.
Oh, excellent. Is this hereditary or is it something that's prevalent in African American women?
Well, the reason why it's so prevalent is 2 things. One is that, yes, it does tend to run in families, African American families, more so than other racial groups, but it also has to do with body fat. These fibroid tumors grow with estrogen. That's why they grow sometimes very rapidly in pregnancy and why they tend not to be an issue once a woman gets into menopause.
Okay.
Estrogen stored in fat is a secondary supplier. So the more body fat you have on you, the more stimulated your fibroids get and the more they're likely to be a
Monica's
problem.
looking at me. Monica, you got to jump in and ask a question so I won't be laughing.
No, I'm just sitting here going, oh my goodness, better work out some more.
We're going to work out some more.
Well,
Okay.
one thing, say everybody can try to be as lean
Sure.
as possible, close to their ideal weight, lose
Okay.
that body fat. It's just one more reason. It's good for your heart health. It's good to prevent
Sure.
type 2 diabetes, stroke, hypertension.
Oh, my goodness,
This is
okay.
one more reason. It's good for your fibroid health.
So go ahead.
So what I guess I'm trying to figure out is how do you get it?
Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows why you
question,
get them.
yeah,
We
right.
know that hormones stimulate their growth,
Uh-huh.
but nobody knows yet why they come to begin with.
So if your mother had fibroids,
More
are
likely.
you more likely
Yes.
to have them?
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
What are symptoms of having fibroids?
The symptoms,
good.
there's 3 main symptoms
Okay.
for fibroids.
3 main symptoms. Let's get them
Heavy
together.
bleeding.
Okay.
So heavy menstrual bleeding. In fact, it's the number 1 reason why women have heavy flow.
Okay.
Pelvic pain. These tumors are hard and firm. They're like rocks. And they push on things. They can stretch the lining to cause these heavy periods.
Okay.
They can push on pelvic nerves to cause pain. They can push on your bladder and compress your bladder. And that's symptom number 3,
Okay.
increased urinary frequency
Okay.
and waking up at night. In fact, sometimes women will see their husbands. He's got the prostate condition, she's got fibroids, and they kind of pass like 2 ships in the night.
2 ships in the night. That could be horrible and horrendous for us. Mario asked a good question. Like what are some of the symptoms? And we talked about the hereditary portion of it. Surgery, is it invasive, non-invasive? What do
Well,
we do?
there's a number of different treatments. The easiest thing is try to do some of the behavioral modification stuff.
Okay.
Try to lose weight, exercise. We approach it with like an anti-estrogen strategy. It said estrogen stimulates, so we want to be kind of anti-estrogen. So there are things you can do: exercise, weight loss. Try to get that fat off you. There are some anti-estrogenic foods. If you can eat those colored vegetables, particularly yellows and oranges
Excellent.
vegetables. Those are really good because they have an enzyme in it that can block estrogen. So that's just one more reason why to eat those. Your mom was right. Those colored vegetables.
But what if you're a young woman and you're on birth control?
Okay, great question.
Okay.
On birth control, because that is one of the treatments for fibroids, is to
I was getting
once
there, great.
once kind of the behavioral modification stuff. You've kind of pushed that envelope.
Okay.
The next thing you try is a doctor will give medicines,
Sure.
one of which are birth control pills.
okay.
Now, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it will lighten flow. But on the
Okay.
other hand, it's stimulating these fibroids. So it works for a little while and can be kind of a short-term strategy. But then as these fibroids continue to grow, they kind of overwhelm the ability for the birth control to
Okay.
work.
And in the old days, they used to automatically say, you need a hysterectomy.
Right away.
You've changed that.
Well, it was the old days. It's still today, unfortunately.
So you still can do that today.
'Cause
You can need a
It
hysterectomy.
is.
Okay.
most women that go to their physician with fibroid issues
Okay.
end up hearing about surgery, but they don't end up hearing about UFE.
Okay.
UFE is uterine fibroid embolization.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest breakthroughs for women. The problem is women don't know about it.
Right. So we're trying to get the word out now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been doing UFE almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
What is it?
It's a non-surgical procedure. Basically the approach is just like a heart catheterization.
Up your thigh or something? Or your
Right where you
pelvis?
feel your pulse. That's
Okay,
just our
gotcha.
door, our entrance into the body.
Sure.
And we can steer and negotiate a catheter into each uterine artery separately.
Okay.
Each uterine artery branches like a tree,
Okay.
and they get smaller and smaller branches till you get out to the leaves. The fibroids are the leaves.
Okay.
And we can flow direct tiny particles into and block the branches to the fibroids. So the big trunk, the main branches, the uterus stays alive, but none of the fibroids do. All of them are dead.
Oh,
and
my
so
goodness.
they soften
Almost
and
like
shrink.
killing the branches or something.
Right,
like
I'm
that.
a tree surgeon.
Right.
I'm pruning the tree.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that, but the branches are dying. Okay,
Right.
gotcha. Okay.
So all the fibroids are knocked out, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the uterus stays alive. So the woman's symptoms, as these fibroids soften and shrink, the
Okay.
symptoms start to go away.
Okay.
And she gets to keep her uterus.
Oh my goodness, hold that point. I think we got a caller. Caller, you there? Thank you for watching Stan Watson Show. Hello, caller. Go right ahead, caller.
Hi, I know that African American women are more susceptible to getting fibroids, but is it possible that it could come from the relaxers used in the hair?
Dr. Lehman?
Yes, the question is about relaxers. And there
Okay.
was some concern that doing these kind of Brazilian blowouts and using lots of relaxers in
yeah.
hair, that there's a chemical in the
Something learned a lot
relaxers
tonight, okay.
that act like estrogen. And since it acts like estrogen,
Oh, man.
it can stimulate fibroid growth. The data is kind of iffy. We're not sure, but it's certainly, we're looking at it. It's certainly something important to look at.
Okay, it was important for the caller. Thank you so much, caller, for calling in. You talked a little bit about nutrition. We're still taking a look at holistic medicine again.
Oh.
And you're talking about not only the surgery. How long is the stay in the hospital for a person?
Now, this isn't surgery.
Yeah.
This
No,
is
the-
a procedure.
Procedure. I mean, procedure. How long
Right.
is
The
it?
procedure is an outpatient one.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it takes about 45 minutes to perform.
Okay. Hello.
And then there's about a 6-hour recovery, and the patient goes home the same day with just a Band-Aid
Okay.
right here. No general anesthesia, no surgical wound or incision. She goes home with a Band-Aid. She has about a 4 or 5 day recovery, out of work for a week.
Okay.
And importantly, she gets to keep her uterus.
Now compare that to if she
Okay.
had done
If
the
she- if she had a
old
history-
procedure.
Right. Okay.
Old procedure, 2-3 days in the hospital.
Long hospital stay,
Big
okay.
surgical wound, either all the way across
yeah,
horizontally, or
yeah.
in some cases, these fibroids get so big, they go vertically,
Right.
breastbone to hairline.
Oh my goodness.
And then about a 6 to 8 week recovery at home.
Now, how long has this surgery been in existence? What is the FDA saying about it? What is the
Oh, it's a-
NME, other health organizations? What are they saying about this surgery? This
It's
procedure?
very safe, very effective. There's, the FDA doesn't approve procedures per se, but the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists,
They're okay with
they're
it?
okay with it.
Okay.
Mostly, it's an issue that people don't know it exists.
Okay.
They don't know that it's available because they will go to their physician, they'll mention surgery, but they won't mention UFE.
Oh,
and so
really?
that's the message, is that you have options.
Does this mean they're gone away forever?
Right.
Well,
Good
essentially,
question.
yes. They usually it's a one-time procedure,
Oh,
and it works,
excellent.
and that's the end of it forever. Now, we have done some women a second time. Usually, they're very young and maybe in their 30s. Now they're in their 40s or early 50s and haven't made it to menopause.
Sure.
Actually grew some new fibroids, and we embolize them a second time, but that's unusual. Typically, it's a one-time thing.
One-time procedure. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we got another call. Hold it right on. Caller, you're there. Thank you for watching the Stan Watson Show. Go right ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, could fibroids be related to some sort of vitamin deficiency or nutritional deficiency?
Well, we don't know about any nutritional deficiency. No one really knows why people get fibroids. But as we were stating earlier, if you can be as lean as possible and good nutrition, exercise, it's going to be helpful to at least try to do whatever you can do. You can't really pick your parents, so the genetic
Right.
aspect of it is kind of a given. But everybody can try to be as lean and close to their ideal body weight, and that does help.
Okay. Thank you again, caller. You got another question? Okay, thank you, caller, for calling in. They're listening. I told you we had a great show, Monica.
Well, this is the kind of show where
Yeah.
women are really interested
Right.
in, because so many young women now are even getting fibroids. No one wants to lose their ability to have children.
That's right.
And I was talking to Dr. Lippman earlier about Cynthia Bailey, who on The Real Housewives of
That's right.
Atlanta. Why don't you tell us how she ended up?
Well, Cynthia actually was at a movie premiere, and fibroids enlarge the uterus, and they often will be described as a certain size pregnancy. The uterus is the same size as, say, a 3-month, a 4-month. And Cynthia was having issues with her fibroids
Right.
and was showing, and the
I was
paparazzi
reading
thought
that.
she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. I was reading that. I was like, what?
And she was mortified because she wasn't pregnant, but she
Right.
was suffering with fibroids and was trying to keep this private. And
Sure.
to her credit, I mean, I just think the world of her, because she's so brave to kind of take something that's so unglamorous
Sure.
and really bring it to light, because she's a woman of beauty and glamour,
Right.
and for her to take this on is
Real
tremendous.
Housewives of Atlanta.
Right.
Well, good. I want you to hold that thought. I want to talk about advice to men, and then we'll come back. And Monica, I want you to help me to tell us about the affair that's coming up pretty soon, and we'll make sure that works for us. I'm asking Vanessa to take us out. We'll take a quick break. I promise if you stay right there, guess what? We'll be right back.
There is none like you. No one else can touch my heart like you do. I can search through all eternity, Lord, and find there is none like you. There is none like you.
Turn our hearts to you. Turn our hearts to you. Till nothing really matters but a pure and honest heart for you. Bring us back to you. Bring us back to you. Here's my broken spirit. Make a pure and honest heart for you. Turn our hearts to you. Turn our hearts to you. Till nothing really matters than a pure and honest.
And welcome back to the Stan Watson Show again. I'm your host, Stan Watson. Happy New Year. If you're just tuning in, hope you had a great holiday season. We're back live, so we'll be here for the next few weeks, hopefully next month, and probably the entire year. So let me know what you think about our guest and what you want to see on the Stan Watson Show. Again, our doctor of the day is Dr. Lippman, and I'm joined by our good friend, Emmy Award journalist, winning TV personality, all the above, Ms. Monica Pearson. Thank you guys for being with us again.
Our pleasure.
We've been
Thank
talking
you.
about uterine fibroids, and we are talking about symptoms, the procedure, the stay, and those kind of things. What about support groups for those men that may be out there and say, well, you know what, my wife has that and I haven't had a chance to really get into it? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say this definitely affects men, even though it's a condition seen in women.
Right.
Men are affected. Anybody that watches The Real Housewives know Cynthia and Peter
Exactly.
and that struggle, but it's a common
Right,
one.
exactly.
And I'm glad they tackled it, because when a woman is bleeding so heavily, she's wearing all this gear on. I mean, it's all that she can do to kind of get through the day. A lot of these women are anemic, they're tired, they're weak, they're just losing so much blood.
And it hurts.
And it hurts.
And it hurts.
And so
she
you're
told
we-
me that on the break, and
so
it
you're-
hurts, Stan.
You're
Okay.
wearing all this stuff, you don't feel sexual.
Right.
And sex, let's face it, is exercise. You're weak, you're tired, it's all you can do to get through the day.
Beating the husband across the head.
And
I'm not
so
scared.
you just don't feel, sexual, you don't
Right.
feel like, but once you have the UFE,
Okay.
and now the UFE procedure's done, your fibroids are handled, you're not bleeding abnormally, you have a normal light period, you can build up your iron and hemoglobin
Excellent.
normally, all of a sudden, now they feel sexual, they have a lot more energy. It's transformational, and that's why we're having this event. We have this event called the Wear White Pants.
Right.
I started a white pants movement a few years ago. The white pants is a metaphor for the relief that women feel once they're no longer suffering with fibroids. They're not chained to their menstrual. They don't have to worry about whatever, they have to know where every bathroom is, how much gear they have, pads are
Right.
everywhere.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
They're free from all of that.
Right.
And because women that are suffering with fibroids typically can't wear white no matter what time of year it is.
Right.
Doesn't matter, Memorial Day, Labor Day, it's never.
But this event, you're asking them to wear white.
Right, because there are a lot of the
Absolutely.
women, we invite women that have had the embolization procedure, the UFE, to show off their white, just like Cynthia was rocking the dress the other day.
Right.
Wear your white pants and show that now you're free. And we also ask them to bring a friend. They may or may not wear white, but it's kind of a symbol that
Right.
you can be free from fibroids. Keep
Excellent.
your uterus with the UFE procedure.
Monica,
And
tell-
Cynthia and I will be
There you go.
hosting the event,
Okay.
and we'll be talking about the very same thing with
Okay.
Dr. Lippman, and asking women
Almost
to
a conversation.
It's going to be a conversation,
Okay.
and we want women to ask those questions. Sometimes they're afraid to ask. This is a
Right.
safe environment from
Right.
6 to 9
to
on the
9.
24th
January
at the
24th.
Malia Hotel. And it's a celebration of being able to wear white if you've had fibroid tumors.
Right.
And it's a time for women to say, I'm going to take charge of my health. I don't want to lose my ability to have
Right.
children. I want to get these things removed.
Okay. All right, now it's Friday, January 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Again, is there a cost? I need
Nope,
to.
it's free.
It's free.
I just want you to tell the audience it's
Free.
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 It's free. So FREE is again Friday night, January 24th, 2014. And you say you're going to be joined, Monica, by Cynthia Bailey of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay.
And she's fabulous.
She is fabulous. Now, if they want more information, is there a number, Monica, that we can call for, or Dr. Lippman?
Well, they can call my office at
Okay.
770-953-2600.
Okay.
And if they want more information about fibroids or the UFE procedure, the website is atlii.com.
All right, I'm going to let you do that one more time before we leave, but we have another caller. Caller, you there? Thanks for calling in and watching the Stan Watson Show tonight. Go right ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, go right ahead. We can hear you. Go right ahead.
I have a question for Dr. Lippman,
Sure.
and this is concerning, I've heard you mention that the uterus stays intact.
Yes.
However, I want to know what the risks are for that woman not being able to have children, because I understand you cut off the blood supply to the fibroids and then
Correct.
they die away.
Correct.
But is there some risk involved
Any
for women who still want to have children?
Sure.
And if you could explain those, that would be great.
Sure. Any
Thank you.
procedure has risk. If a woman is interested in fertility, it's a longer discussion. If a woman's not interested in fertility, this versus hysterectomy is essentially a no-brainer.
Right,
But
right,
if you're
right.
interested in fertility, it's a longer discussion. You have to look at the age of the woman.
The age of the
Has she
woman,
ever
certainly.
had previous surgery? How many fibroids does she truly have? I see women that have 50, 60, 100 fibroids.
goodness,
The
okay.
surgery is to take out some of them. And so you cut open the woman, take out what you can, and sew her back together. That's called a myomectomy.
Okay,
And so it would be
myomectomy.
myomectomy
Saw that, okay.
versus the UFE. And so if a woman has lots and lots of fibroids, or if she's older, fertility-wise, the older she is and the more fibroids she has, UFE makes more sense.
Okay.
The younger she is and the fewer fibroids she has, then myomectomy tends to make more sense. But
Okay.
it's a longer discussion.
But there are some women who have had the myomectomy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend in California who had it 30 years ago, and now her fibroids are back.
Right, and that's common. With myomectomy, they commonly leave in as many tumors or more tumors than they can take out.
Why
And
is that, Dr.
Because
Lippman?
you've got to have an intact uterus
Okay.
when they're done with surgery. So
Okay.
they take what they can, but they leave a lot behind.
Okay.
And so those smaller ones tend to grow, and you're right back where you started, whereas UFE knocks them all out. So typically UFE is a one-time procedure, but you can do myomectomy multiple times, and that's really sad because really one myomectomy is sufficient. After that, it really should be UFE because
Right.
each time you cut
Take
on that
it,
woman's
right,
uterus, her fertility is going to go down dramatically anyway.
Right.
So one myomectomy, okay, but that's as much
But
as you
UFE
after that, UFE for
Okay.
sure.
It can be episodic then, you're saying? For
Yes.
UFE. Okay, all right. Now, you got to talk about this with the Affordable Health Care Act and all these things coming about health care. Talk a little bit about reimbursement. Insurance paying for this?
All insurances cover UFE.
Yeah, just
so
want to make sure they get it.
absolutely, UFE is covered by every insurance. I'm not aware of a carrier that
Okay.
doesn't.
Excellent.
The price is a little bit less than surgery,
Okay.
not dramatically so because it's performed in a hospital.
How much are we talking about?
Roughly, UFE is about 10,000.
Okay.
Hysterectomy is about 12. Myomectomy is more 15 to 18. And if it's
But-
robotic, it's even more expensive.
Right, but it's covered by your insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
It's
all
covered
right,
by
so
insurance.
That's a good thing.
And so, again, the important thing is a woman gets to keep her uterus, which, there are consequences for women. Even, women that don't want children, still it's important for them to keep their uterus. It has
Right.
important functions besides childbearing. And so that's another important message for people. They don't have to have surgery. They don't have to have a hysterectomy. They don't have to lose
Sure.
their body parts. They can have UFE, get their life back, because their uterus is important for other reasons.
Like what?
Psychologically, like there are women that feel like
Right.
castrated like a man without
Right.
their uterus.
Oh,
It's
hello.
important sexually.
Very
The
good.
uterus is obviously important sexually. It's important for your bone health.
Mm-hmm.
Women that have hysterectomies have a much higher incidence of osteoporosis, and
okay.
we're a lot more active than our parents'
Or
generation.
some kind of pelvic disease, so to speak.
Well, it's just you just get the weaker bones.
Weaker bones, right, okay.
And so it's just if you can keep your parts, it behooves you to do so. It's
Right. Now, I noticed that in your bio, you talk a lot in the beginning of the show, you talk about it's more prevalent in the African American community.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about some of the organizations you work with. I kind of read that in your bio. Talk a little bit about
Oh.
those organizations.
We'll speak with anybody that'll listen. Almost every weekend I'm speaking at a black church or an African American sorority group
Sure.
or you name it.
I just want them to hear because I want to make sure that you're invited out to the community
yeah,
to
we
share
were-
this information.
Keynote speaker at African American Nurses Association, Mocha Moms, Black Physician Group invited me to speak in front of them. I'll talk to anybody that'll
Okay.
listen.
Well, wonderful. It's been an awesome pleasure to have both of you here. But before I let you go, Monica, tell us again about the date, January 24th. What's happening?
January 24th.
Okay.
It's the Winter White Affair.
Okay.
It's a celebration, white
Celebration.
pants celebration. It's from 6 to 9 at the Malia Hotel downtown.
Excellent, excellent. And again, give us their website and a phone number. They want to contact you for additional information.
Website is atlii.com and office phone number 770-953-2600.
Good. I had an awesome responsibility of trying to do this interview with somebody as famous as Monica Pearson, but I tried to get through it, y'all. So it's our first time back, so I hope I did okay. And I'm going to ask her to give me a couple of classes so I'll be better during the year.
You're
My-
perfect.
My guest has been Ms. Monica Pearson and also with Dr. Lipman. We've been talking about UFE, uterine fibroids, and we're talking about an event that's coming up on January 24th at the Malia Hotel from 6 to 9 p.m. That's, guess what, free. So come out on January 24th. Make sure you get the information again. We'll take a quick break. Promise you stay right there. I'll be right back.
God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Oh, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Oh.
be used by you. Like I want to picture
And welcome back to the Stan Watson Show. I hope you enjoyed that segment with Dr. Lipman and my good friend, Miss Monica Pearson. Don't forget that Winter White Pants Social is Friday, January 24th, 2014, from 6 to 9 p.m. at Malia Hotel on West Peachtree Street. For more information, or to RSVP, 678-861-7787 is the number. I hope that you are saving Saturday, February the 1st at 9 a.m. for our first DeKalb Legislative Community Cabinet breakfast. That will be this Saturday, February the 1st. So don't look for me in January. February the 1st at 9 a.m. at Chapel Hill Middle School. We have some awesome speakers, and again, the breakfast will also be free. Make sure if you need to get on my email list or have questions about the show or something happening in the community, call Kelly at 404-371-3681. We'll take care of your constituent need. Well, we'll move right into our other segment. We have a great segment. We're going to be talking about credit, and with me tonight, Mr. George Cole with the National Credit Educational Services.
That's
How
me.
we doing?
Thank you, sir.
Good. You've been by our community breakfast. You
Yes,
and
sir.
Mr. Bo came by.
Yes.
Bo Young, I think it was, and talked a little bit about credit. Talk a little bit about the beginning of the year now, why it's so important for us to talk about, even think about our credit files and those kind of things.
Well, I think that credit is one of the foremost pieces in America. It's something that we definitely have to respect. It's something that we can't take for granted.
Okay.
It is used in every aspect of our life, with employment, perhaps getting a promotion,
Insurance.
perhaps losing a job if you don't have the right credit. All types of insurance, homeowners insurance, getting a security system for your house, you need to have a good credit score.
Right.
So it ties into so much, and it's something that we can't take for granted.
That's
Paying
right.
higher interest rates and being comfortable because the man told us we got approved.
Right.
So we drive it.
Right.
We're not really realizing what we're paying.
It's a
We're not
50%
realizing
interest, huh?
Exactly. We're saying the payment's $555, but you don't realize that the car is for 84 months. So that kind of makes it where you're paying almost $60,000 for a car that you paid $25,000
Right.
for. We have to look at the whole picture and
That's
really
right.
analyze it, because that's our wealth that we're giving away if we don't pay attention.
I think it's important for you to talk a little bit about too, George, is that during this housing demise and during the time that the economy was going a little bit sour, a lot of people lost their houses, they faced foreclosure and bankruptcies, and we had problems with our credit. Talk a little bit about how that affected our economy, and what are you doing with your organization to help people in those kind of situations?
Well, what we want people to know, the recovery time from losing a house is not as long as what people think they are. A lot of times when you talk to loan officers, they may give you the facts that they know, but they don't know the underwriting facts, the deeper facts of how you can still get requalified even after a foreclosure, just depend on, what kind of situation.
Sure.
Or even after a bankruptcy, if you had to do a Chapter 13 or even after a Chapter 7. But recovery time through good credit restoration and education, and then reestablishing yourself
Sure.
is one of the most important things to now be able to take advantage of these lower, more affordable homes. I mean, people are getting homes at a third of the cost.
Right.
And then we have to know what kind of mortgage to get when we do take advantage of getting these homes. We need to get a 15-year mortgage, not a 30-year
30-year
mortgage.
right.
30-year mortgage is no disrespect. It's for poor people. It's for people who don't know, because
And that's what we did for a number of years, get
that's what
30-year
we do.
mortgages.
You can get more house.
Yeah, even the veterans were getting 30-year mortgages.
Exactly.
Now, you talk a little bit about bankruptcy. Tell us how that affects your credit, especially with Chapter 7 first. Let's do 7, 11, and 13. How would Chapter 7 affect my credit?
Well, Chapter 7, if you're heavily debted,
Heavily debted.
heavily debted,
Okay.
right? And if this debt is within the statute of limitations, there's a lot of people that do bankruptcies and Chapter 7s, and they don't have to. The statute of limitations of debt in the state of Georgia is 4 years. So once that debt has been charged off after 4 years, or repossession or foreclosure after 4 years, you don't no longer owe that debt.
But will it be off their credit?
Well, that's what they have to
Call you
That's
for
right.
it.
That's right. That's where we can come in and
okay.
help at. But what happens is, because the collection agencies are continuing to harass you, then people feel that they're forced into bankruptcy.
Right, and then the other deal is that you should tell them that sometimes the loan is sold to another collection agency.
There you
as a
go.
second piece of paper.
That's right.
Okay, you explain that to them.
And it just continues to create a snowball effect off of one account.
Right.
You had one charge off, and now it's on there 11 times because of all these different collection agencies.
Right.
And then each collection agency is adding more and more fees and interest onto a debt.
Right.
And that's something they're
Just
not
to make
allowed
money
to do
off.
either.
Yeah.
Because
All right.
it's not their debt.
That's chapter 7. Chapter 11, how does it affect my credit?
Well, Chapter 11 is for businesses, and that's a reorganization of a business to basically be able to get back on track
Sure.
so that they can survive like what Delta went through.
Right, right.
And the auto dealers that President Obama helped with.
Right.
So
The
those are
GM and
things.
people like that,
That's
yeah, right,
right, affect them. And then I think there's one more.
Then it was chapter 13.
Right, and those are the ones that we do as individuals. The only time you should ever do a Chapter 13 is when it comes down to protecting yourself of assets. If you don't have an asset, you
Don't
should
worry
do a
about
Chapter
trying to
13. You
protecting
should
your
do
assets.
a Chapter 7 to
Right.
discharge the debt.
Right.
Asset is protecting like a 401k, or your house is worth 100,000 and you only owe 50.
Right, right.
But you can't afford to pay for
And
it.
you're trying to protect that asset.
You're trying to protect that asset. But if you're upside down on everything, upside down on your cars or lost the cars, this is old credit card
7.
debt. Oh,
7 has to go. All right.
7.
Oftentimes we see in the street there are people that are right on a sign, I will fix your credit. Now tell us why it's so important to stay away from organizations like this, especially putting a sign on the expressway off and on ramp, and you're talking about I will fix your credit, and you didn't get a sign made up, you just wrote it on a piece of paper and put it on the sign. Talk about agencies like that giving your business, which is a good business, bad names.
well, I think it comes down to a person being able to articulate what credit is about.
Okay.
If all they're saying is that I'm going to fix your credit, don't worry about this, don't worry about that. If they turn around and tell you you'll be at a 700 score in 30 days, you know, you have
need
to
to
be
be worried.
concerned about that.
So, but you a 530, and you're gonna tell me in 30 days I'm
700.
gonna be at 700.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I changing Social Security now? What's going on?
Yeah, because see, your credit score is created from algorithms, which is a scientific study by FICO that studies your human conduct dealing with your credit. So
Almost
if you don't,
studying your history of repaying,
that's
the
right.
ability to repay.
So if
That's
all you
FICO,
have is
really.
evictions,
Right.
cable, medical,
Right.
it's not possible for you to reach a 700.
Right.
You don't have enough trade lines to
And that's not just
history.
credit cards either. It's actually revolving accounts as well as the car,
Educational
the house,
loans.
educational loans, even health loans.
Yeah, all that is what is the body of the credit report that creates a score. So if no one analyzed your information or asked you qualifying questions and they're telling you you're going to be at a 700, you should not walk, you should run.
You should run.
Yeah.
You should run away from that person. Now, there are 3 major credit reporting agencies. I think one is Equifax.
Yes, sir.
They were the kind of the preeminent big boy on the block, so to speak. Talk a little bit about them now, what they're doing.
Well, there's 3 major credit reporting agencies, and let it be known that these companies are privately owned, and they're in business to make money.
Okay.
And nobody asked them to report credit. To me, it's one of the most unfair things in America which is the credit reporting agencies, because you don't have any legal rights to challenge anything. So if a collection agency says, I owe $4,000, but the original creditor says only owe $800, they're not even communicating with us, asking us first, is this true? They're just putting whatever anybody says on our credit report. And that's create the unfairness.
That's really unfair.
It's-
But they're the big baby, right? They're the kind of the huge one.
Yeah, Equifax.
And then you got,
Experian is
Experian,
the next biggest
the
one,
big one,
and then TransUnion is the smaller one.
Now, what happened to Chilton? Years ago, they had Chilton. It was an older, I guess they kind of phased out. But TransUnion.
TRW.
TRW, okay.
Right.
Okay.
They were sold to Experian, which Experian is a British paper company from Britain. So a
goodness.
Britain company owns the United States private security information on us. How about that?
That's excellent. Now, if you had someone came to talk to you about fixing their credit, and you're telling our viewing audience tonight about fixing credit, give us 3 top things to do, and then give them your phone number so you can call. We don't give them all away because we want to make sure that you stay in business.
Yes,
but
sir.
the top 3 things I can do to fix my credit,
Well, I think that,
and that is including increasing my FICO score.
right.
Okay.
I think that it's
Number one.
important to, number one, is to analyze the credit report and see where the values are at.
So review your personal credit
Yeah,
report.
that's what we would do.
Oh, you would do that.
Yes.
Now, what about the consumer? Should we review our credit report?
Yes, because
Okay.
we would also have you to be online with a monitoring system to view. So instead of deleting something that shows a repossession, I would rather try to get it reversed to show paid as agreed, never late.
Hello.
I would rather challenge the inaccuracy. If I delete it, it removes the trade line. I'd rather leave the trade line there. It's like if it
So
was
that I paid it on time.
so it's like having, apparently you had an F in chemistry. Now we convinced the professor that it was an A.
Right,
so now
right.
you keep the credits and your
Gotcha.
GPA goes up. That's
Okay.
how you create the credit score.
Okay.
And then the next thing we do
Number two, okay.
Number two is going to be, we break the credit report down in 3 categories,
Okay.
which is public record, collections, and trade lines.
All right, now what's public records?
Public
Those are like
record is-
judgments or, okay.
100%.
Okay.
Bankruptcies, tax liens, judgments, IRS liens. Those things you don't want to reverse because they should have never been a removal. Same thing with
You
collections.
don't want to remove them?
We do want to remove
You want to
those.
remove those, because that's
We don't
a-
want to reverse.
That's heavy. Is that a heavy weight on your credit
It's a
score?
huge weight.
Huge weight, okay.
Yeah,
Don't want you to tell them, okay.
and then also in the collections, in the medical. So there's a lot of violations that the credit reporting agencies do. There's things that for $50 or less should never be on your credit report.
Oh, yeah, really?
Medical should really never be on your credit report because it wasn't a loan that I applied for.
Right.
You know, so the credit reporting agencies have a free opportunity to do what they
All
want.
right, so you said the public information, what was the second one?
Tax liens, judgments,
Tax and
garnishments.
judgment, okay, and then the third, you say was 3 categories?
3 categories, which is collections,
The
which
collection,
is medical,
okay.
apartment
Right.
complexes.
Excellent, excellent. All right, now tell me a little bit about your company. How long has your company been in existence?
Well, we've been in existence. We opened up we created our DBA 2009, opened up in 2010.
Okay,
And I've been in this industry since 1997.
okay, so you've been around for a while.
And I love it.
Right.
Because we help take people to another level. We help to give people hope for single moms to know that they can rise again. They can get this house. We teach them how to buy cars, how to accelerate interest, you know, how to get that 15-year loan and pay it off in 11 years without paying an extra
You show
cent
people how to rebuild your credit.
and rebuild their credit.
Talk a little bit about, you said in your bio, how do we accelerate interest to pay loans off fast?
Right. This is strong because, see, first of all, interest is accrued on a daily basis. So if you got a 15-year note and your house payment is $800 a month, when you pay $800 on the 1st of February, you just paid 30 days worth of interest. Therefore, that $800, only about $11 is going towards your principal for the first 7 years.
Okay.
That's why your balance is not paid down.
Yep.
But if you would split your payment and pay $400 on January the 15th and pay the other $400 on the 1st of February, they can't charge you for interest that you didn't use because you gave them half the money 2 weeks before it was due. So now instead of $11 going
Joe, you'll get
towards,
somebody lose their house. Say that again now.
so now you got like $280 went towards the principal, and that will take 4
right.
years off a 15-year note
Okay.
without paying anything extra.
Okay, great.
Same
great.
thing with your car.
Okay. Now, what about the statute of limitation on credit reports in the state of Georgia?
Well, statute of limitations on credit reports is pretty much nationwide. So, you know, basically charge-offs, you know, things like that, say on your credit report for 7 years. But tax liens and bankruptcies are like 10 years.
Okay, right, okay.
And judgments.
All right. Now, give them the name of your company again, give them your website and the phone number. I want to make sure that they get out to see you and you get out to see them as well. So give them the information.
It's
Right there in the 3.
www.ncesnow.org, www.ncesnow.org, and our phone number is 770-952-5168.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. I hope you got the information. I hope you enjoyed the information. Our guest has been Mr. George Cole. He's doing a lot with our credit, does a lot with bankruptcy, helping you with foreclosed houses, those kind of things. Make sure you reach out to George and his partners and make sure you get to see him as well. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back. I got an exciting singer that's going to come back singing. Then I'm going to interview her and let her tell you all about what she does in our community. Be right back. So stay there. You're watching Stan Watson Show. I'll be right back.
Stan Watson.
sit in disbelief of the way you love me. I recall each moment passing that your love is everlasting. Just the thought of you makes me cry. Sometimes I ask myself just why you love me this way when I've often betrayed your trust in me. You showed your love for me. That's why I find myself overwhelmed with you, in love with you. Find myself just overwhelmed with you. When you embrace me, words cannot express the way I feel. Your love is truly so, and it will always be such a mystery to me. Receiving love so undeserving, just the thought of you makes me cry. Sometimes I
And welcome back to the Stan Watson Show. I hope you enjoyed the shows thus far. Again, thank you for tuning in to our live call-in show at 770-559-2999 is our telephone call. Well, she's done a great job in bringing us in and out of break, but I wanted her to sing tonight. So without further ado, we're going to bring up Miss Vanessa Thompson.
There is a name that is so precious, a name so wonderful to me. This name speaks peace unto my storm clouds. Because of him, I am made free. That name is Jesus. Oh, how I love him, the one who gave his life for me. Because of love so unconditional, I will have life eternally. Praise that name. Praise that name. Praise that name. Praise that name.
Awesome, that was awesome. Thank you so very much for that. Now, you've been singing for, I know, a long time, and you actually, I looked at your bio, you've done some background vocals for some very important people like, who was that, Ruben Studdard and other people. Talk about a little bit about that.
Yes, my most current background vocal that I did is with Ruben Studdard and also Leandria Johnson from
Okay.
American Idol.
That's right.
So that should be coming out, or it should be out on iTunes now.
And
but
that
I'm
was
very
came from
happy about
Sunday
that.
Best, wasn't it?
Sunday Best.
Sunday Best,
Sunday's
okay.
Best.
Mhm.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And you're accompanied tonight by
By Mr. Kevin Griffin.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes,
Wonderful. Well, y'all give
yes,
Mr. Griffin a
he
hand.
is-
Okay, give it up for the man.
He's a very well-renowned jazz player.
Excellent.
jazz artist in the city of Atlanta. So I am very honored to have
As they
him
say with Earth, Wind,
accompany
and Fire,
me.
you play so beautifully. Don't you agree?
He's awesome. He's awesome. He's
Well,
awesome.
wonderful. How would you describe your type of music? And you just sing gospel? Do you sing gospel jazz, gospel fusion? What do you do?
Well, the type of music that I do is mainly gospel.
Okay.
That's where my heritage is, and that is what I stick to.
Now, where's your
so-
hometown?
My hometown is Sharpsburg, Georgia. So I am a
Sharpsburg,
Georgia
Georgia.
peach.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
yes.
south of 85 near Union City down
It
that way.
is.
Oh, I didn't think I knew
yes,
where that was.
40
didn't you?
miles south of
Uh-huh.
the airport. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
excellent. And you actually live in Atlanta?
I actually live here in Atlanta,
Excellent.
born and raised.
So they can look for some great things, I guess, from you. Now, I read your bio. Professionally, you're an RN. You're a registered nurse. Is that
I
correct?
am. I am a
And
registered
see
nurse for
there?
13
Yeah,
years.
well, see,
Yes.
I
So
be
this
reading
show
it.
hits home.
Okay, it was great, great. And so, where will you be appearing next? Are you doing any church venues, or you gonna be at the Fox somewhere next week? We need to know about. Let us know now.
Well, hopefully, after this showing, I will have some engagements.
Okay, all right.
At the Fox. But every Sunday, I am at my home church,
Your
which
home
is
church is?
Paradise Church of God in Christ in Forest Park, Georgia.
Park,
And
Georgia.
I would just like to give a shout out
Go
to
right
my
ahead.
bishop, Bishop Paul Fortson, and my First Lady, Evangelist Carolyn Fortson. And I am
Excellent.
just so happy that they support me in my singing career.
Excellent. Now, if people want to get in touch with you about singing at their venue and bringing such an accomplished pianist with you, how will they do that? Can you give them a phone number or a website to look at?
They can definitely contact me at Kogic, that's COGIC,
Okay.
nurse, NURSE, at gmail.com.
All right, well, and you sing for a fee. We'll let everybody know she's not singing free. So when you call her, I saw you on the Stand Watch Show. I want you to come do this free event. I'm trying to help you out now.
That's
She's
right.
looking for a love
Weddings,
offering, a
yes.
payment. People got to work and make it right, so make sure you do that. Well,
That's
I've
right.
enjoyed you coming tonight and singing. I'm going to make sure
I
that you
enjoy
come back
being here.
again.
Thank
and also
you.
that you'll come back and maybe be with us on some of our shows we're doing during the year. Before I let you go, tell us about the last song that you're going to sing, and is it something that you penned or is it original? What are you going to sing for us now?
Well, this is just a familiar song that, I just like to sing, and it makes me happy. So
Okay.
I will definitely hope that it's going to make you happy as
Excellent.
well.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Vanessa Thompson again.
You make me happy. You make me whole. You take the pain away. I'm so in love with you. Everything about you is right. It covers all my wrong. Your life's changed my life. Everything about you is right. It covers all my wrong. Your life changed my life, and it's you where I belong. All right.
Oh, she's trying to show out now. Okay. Still, we got to get her paid. You got one more gospel song for us before we leave tonight, and you've been so awesome. I want everybody to make sure that they contact you. Give that phone number out one more time. Vanessa, make sure you get that phone number out
Yes.
one more time.
My phone number, you can reach me at 770-655-2851, and that's for weddings, that's for funerals, bar mitzvahs, birthday parties, any occasion. I
you
would
make it
love
work.
to render my voice to you.
All right, well, great. It's been my pleasure being with you tonight. Before Vanessa sings, just remember that there's no community cabinet meeting the month of January. The meeting will be in February. I think it's the first Saturday in February at Chapel Hill Middle School. We have some great speakers. There's a free breakfast, and we'll make sure you get a good meal on that Saturday, along with great information. The great things happening at DeKalb County. If you need to call me, my number in the office is 404-371-3681. We'll take any constituent concern for District 7 or for DeKalb County, so make sure you give our office a call and we'll take care of your problem. Well, I've had a great time. I hope you had a great time. We're going to go with Vanessa and try to get out of here so we can get home and see what's going on in the sports world today. Did y'all watch the game last night? I know, I was pulling for the SEC, but Florida State won, so what can I say? Give them their props and let them go. Vanessa, take us home.
Well, put your hands together and help me out here. Yes. Where do I go when there's no one there for me to talk to? Who do I turn to when there is no one there to listen? Who do I lean on when there is no foundation stable? I go to the rock. I know God is able. I go to the rock. Where do I go when there is no one there to turn to? Who do I talk to when there is no one there to listen? Who do I lean on when there is no foundation stable? I go to the rock. I know God is able. I go to the rock. Well, I go to the rock of my salvation. I go to the stone that the builders rejected. I go to the mountain, and the mountain stands by me. When the earth around me is sinking sand, on Christ Jesus, the solid rock I stand. When I need a shelter, when I need a friend, when I need a shelter, when I need a friend, when I need a shelter, when I need a friend, when I need a shelter, when I need a friend, I go to the rock. Yes, I go to the rock. I go to the rock. Oh, that rock is Jesus. Yes, that rock is Jesus. I'm gonna go to the rock. Yes, I go to the rock. I'll go to the rock. Yes, I'll go to the rock. Oh, yes, I do go to the rock. I go to the rock. Yes, I go to the rock. I go to the rock. Yeah, yes. Go to the rock. Yes, I go to the rock. I'll go to the rock of my salvation. I'll go to the stone that the builders rejected. I'll go to the mountain